Hello, y'all. Welcome back to This Week in Sports with your host, Josh Jacko. I got my co-host filling in here tonight. My dog, Denny, our beautiful dog, Denny. She's just sleeping. Got a lot going on in the last week, and some. I mean, went to the Heritage Classic, had a crazy weekend. Get into that. It was super eventful. Some other news in the NHL. The World Series is going on, hence the beer bats. I just emptied it out. These things are amazing. They were so popular at the Riverhawks last year. I mean, everyone bought them. They were sold out for like ever and ever. They're like in the first like 2 weeks of them having it. They had to order like 10,000 in the reorder, but that's beyond the point. The point is, we had a crazy, crazy weekend here in Edmonton. Hence why I'm wearing the Oilers jersey. Hence why we got all the gear. We got R2D2 wearing the swag as well. I'm wearing this specific jersey because this is the jersey that I get signed by the players. I got a few Edmonton Oilers jerseys, as you've seen, I'm sure. But this one, got to see Cujo this weekend. Got to see the Stanley Cup this weekend. Got to see the Heritage Classic this weekend. And so much more. And what a weekend it was, even beyond that. It was also my brother's birthday weekend as well. And we did it up big on that Friday of this past week. Well, let's start with going downtown before we get into what we did after the fact. But we went downtown, and we went with our neighbors, actually, who are like the super big Oilers fans like we are. And they wanted to go downtown to catch Stuart Skinner and get his autograph. So we catch a ride with them. We get downtown, the fan park, so next to the Grand Villa Casino. And Stu, there's already a big-ass lineup for Stu. And we get there about half an hour into his signing. And it becomes apparent to my cousin and I that we probably won't make it for Stu's signing. So we're like, you know what? We know the Stanley Cup's here. So let's go check out the Cup. This is Friday afternoon. And so we walk across the fan park. We go over to the Stanley Cup. There was probably 100 people waiting for Stu. There was 5 people waiting for the Stanley Cup to take pictures with it. I'm like, no way. This is crazy. There's longer lines at the Hockey Hall of Fame to see the Stanley Cup. There was only a group of 2, a group of 3 right in front of us. So we get right into there, and I was in awe in the presence of Lord Stanley's mug. Whenever you're in presence of such a trophy, you got to understand all the greats that have won it, the amount of work that it takes to even get to the point to have a chance to win it. There's very few people in the history of mankind that would even have the ability to make it to that point where you can have a chance to win the Stanley Cup. So whenever I've seen it, it's always a special feeling. I've only seen it in person a handful of times. I think the first time was at the original Heritage Classic in 2003. Caleb, you remember that? When we went to City Hall and took a picture with it? Yeah, because it was on the top of the steps in City Hall. Yeah, and we took a picture. I was wearing my I had a Oilers third jersey with the oil drop in or whatever, the dark blue one. And I remember taking a picture. I was 11 at the time, like grade 5 or some shit. And yeah, we took a picture there. And then the only other times I've seen the Cup have been, I think I came to the city one time, but I don't think I've seen it in person. The 2 most recent times were at the Hockey Hall of Fame. I went and seen the Cup. But I never took a picture with it because I'm like, both times I went to the Hall of Fame, I was by myself, and I'm like, I don't want to get some random take a picture with the Cup by myself or whatever. At least I get to see it, whatever. But this time, 20 years after the first time I seen the Cup in person, I go downtown. We're right up in line. It's not even a line. It goes by super quick, and we're looking at each other, me and my cousin. We're like, holy shit, it's right there. And I think the group in front of us, they were kind of hugging it. And at the Hockey Hall of Fame, they don't allow you to touch it. But at the fan park, this group of people they were like kind of hugging it. I'm like, yo, we can touch it. They're like, yeah, go ahead, go ahead. So me and my cousin Joe, we take a picture with it, holding the cup, arms around it and everything, and then we both do single shots of it, and then I let Joe go first, and then I'm like thinking like, you know what? If they're letting me touch this, I'm gonna give it a smooch. I'm giving it a smooch. You got a smooch button? There you go. I put my arm around this beautiful trophy, and I give it a big smooch right on the cup where so many legends have raised it, have kissed it, have drank out of it, have eaten cereal out of it, have eaten poutine out of it, have you fucking name it. It's been in that cup. Newborn babies have been sitting in it, taking baths in it. It's just, it's so iconic. And it's something I'll never forget, kissing the Stanley Cup, because obviously, even though I have the skill level and the talent level to win it, I am too old to compete for it. But no, real talk, it was one of the dopest things I've ever done. As far as the only thing that I can relate it to is actually seeing the Grey Cup one time at O'Byrne's on White Ave. There was two Eskimos after we won it in 2015. It was that winter. It was like that November, December, and I go into O'Byrne's, and the Grey Cup's sitting on the bar, and there's two Eskimos there. I'm like, no fucking way. So yeah, is that what it is? And uh, I'm like, no way, what's going on? This is so cool. This is so cool. And I was just like so blown away. And then, long story short, I'm like, they were kind of like some B-level players or whatever, not like the like wide receivers or offensive. I think they were like defensive linemen or whatever. Nonetheless, they were Grey Cup champions. And I asked them, like before I left, I'm like, yo, do you think it would be all right if like I lifted it over my head and gave it a kiss? Like, yeah, no problem, no problem. Go ahead. I'm like, no way. So I lifted this freaking thing. I was like, yes. Gave her a smooch. And that's the only thing I could relate like the Stanley Cup to, and or seeing the Stanley Cup and kissing that. So, two of the great cups in sports I've had the opportunity to put my beautiful lips on, and I'm so grateful for that. But yeah, it was super cold on Friday, so like we just did that and then we dipped, and we also had plans to go to the rec room later that night for Caleb's birthday. Me, my sister, her girlfriend, my girl, and was it just us five? Yeah. And I had like a shit ton of credits, unbeknownst to me. I knew I had a wristband for the rec room. I didn't know I had like 100 and some credits on it. So we were able to game out, play a bunch of different shit, play Mario Kart, get competitive, and all in all, I think it was a good time on that Friday. And then the Saturday came about, and we were planning, like, the plan was to go to downtown again to this time Cujo. We wanted to go see Cujo, Curtis Joseph, on a Saturday. And sure enough, we were able to get there like early enough where we only had to, as soon as Cujo came out, we only had to wait like 5 minutes to get up to him. And he signed this jersey where all my signatures are of the players I've got signed. And he couldn't have been nicer. Couldn't have been cool. He was like my favorite goalie back when I was like 5 years old. Like Cujo was the shit. I remember like watching him. Like my first memories of watching hockey, Curtis Joseph was our netminder. And like even though we lost in the first few rounds back in the day, then just his whole style of play I loved, and also his mask was just the dopest shit. I don't know if you remember or if you're old enough to remember, but back at McDonald's they used to give away those mini masks. They were like this big or so, and they would have Cujos and different ones. But Cujo's was the sickest, and they were all collectible, right? And Cujo's was like the dopest one because it was like the dog Cujo. I mean, we all know his fucking mask is iconic, right? So just meeting him was just amazing, and like I said, he couldn't have been nicer. And it was cold as shit though. So as soon as I got this signed, Like we could have stayed around for like Fear and like I think Low was there and coffee, but it was just like we were freezing our asses off, and so we ended up dipping. But yeah, no, he signed right here. This is the jersey that I get signed because the other ones I wear. I don't wear this one often. But it has Drake Kajula's signature on it from back in the day. My sister got that one. Shout out to my sister Naomi. Uh, Matt Benning's signature right there. She also got that for me. I went and got Ryan Smith's jersey. I stood in line one winter to meet him and get his signature. He did it right on the oil drop. It's kind of faded, but he did it right on the oil drop. Ironically, because I mean, he bleeds oil. And then my sister also got Connor McDavid's on my jersey here as well. So yeah, I mean, I'm running out of room. I was gonna get Fears here if it wasn't so cold, but there's some room here, some room around here. But eventually, I might have to get another jersey to get signed or some sort of other memorabilia. So yeah, that Saturday it was just super cold. So we ended up dipping early after seeing Cujo, and then we had it at dinner at the parents' house for your B day, which is nice. What game did we play? Clue, yes. Oh yeah, but then you won by default. And then on the Sunday, yeah, so I was just getting hyped up for the Sunday because Sunday I had a ticket to the Heritage Classic and I couldn't miss it. I could not miss it because I've never been to an outdoor game, and getting into sports broadcasting as I am, I'm doing all these things that I've never done in as far as like watching sports. So it was really important for me to make it to that game, and I did. And what a game it was! But before I even get into the game, just getting there, holy shit! So we got there like super early because there was a concert going on. The Beaches were playing. First time seeing them, they killed it. It was a really good performance, and it wasn't as cold on the Sunday as it was the Saturday and Friday. It was relatively warm like during the day, and the sun was out. It was really nice actually. And the Beaches killed it. They had a good set, and I mean, seeing those chicks play the songs that I hear on the radio, seeing it live, it's pretty cool. But yeah, after their set, we go watch before their set, we watched the Oilers come in. They were all dressed, as I'm sure everyone's seen on social media. They were dressed in coveralls with the hard hats, mint. They roll in on like the side by sides. It was way better than how the Flames came in, like half naked with cowboy hats. We were dressed to go to work. They were dressed to go party. And at the end of the day, we were partying, and they have some work to do. But just yeah, after the Beaches, we go to get in to the Commonwealth Stadium, and holy shit, was it ever packed to even get? I've been to playoff games, Eskimo playoff games. I've like multiple big games in the CFL, sold out games almost. I've never seen a line like this before. I think partly because back in the day, the CFL. Now that I'm thinking about it, the Eskimos in the CFL, they didn't have like the walk-through metal detectors. We have to take everything out of your pockets. They just checked bags. So I think that was a big part of it. They only had so many like walk-through metal detectors. But anyways, we were cutting it close. Like we got to the line. Fuck this line! It was more than a line. It was mayhem. At like the game was at 5. I think we got there like 4:30 or something, and it just took forever to get in. It was just so many people, and you could see like there was already so many people in there. It was a sold out crowd. There was like 55,000 people in there, and there's only so many entrances into that place, and so I barely got in there in time for puck drop. Like I'm like getting through the gates, and I'm like hearing the anthem going, and I'm like, oh shit, run. So I didn't even make it to my seat. I just went to the first opening and got to see puck drop, and I mean we got off to a hot start. We scored a couple early on. Kulak with the opening goal, and a crowd just goes crazy. I've never experienced anything like that as far as a hockey game and the amount of people watching a single hockey game. And yeah, it was all Oilers for most of the game. Besides the penalties that we were taking, there was 2 5-on-3 opportunities that the Flames had that they couldn't capitalize on. Like our penalty kill, like fucking yeah, our penalty in the same period, dude. In the same period, we had two man disadvantages, and in the same fucking period, and they couldn't score. So that was huge for us. Ultimately, we all know we won 5-2, and I mean, shit. Vinny Diernay scored his first NHL goal, which it wasn't initially. They didn't credit him. They didn't credit him initially for the goal, but after review and whatnot, they gave him his first NHL goal. Hopefully, he was able to get that puck. Yeah, Diernay, big boy, getting his first. And can you imagine getting your first NHL goal outdoors? Like that's how many people can say they've done that, right? I mean, there's only been what 24 outdoor games or something like that. Maybe I'm mistaken on that number, but there's it's 20 years that they've been doing it, and this is the 20th anniversaries. So I'm not sure, but I can't. There's only probably been only like one or two other guys, if that, that have got their first NHL goal in an outdoor game. But we got that 5-2 win, big W. We needed that win, like tremendously, because I mean we all know our fucking start was shit to the season. So hopefully that turns things around. We got Dallas coming up the next couple days here, and then I should be going to that Nashville game on Saturday, which will be fun. Yeah, and I also got this is gonna be like this whole next like couple months is gonna be like super busy for me. Because the Friday I got the Spruce Grove Regals game to do that Friday night, and then that Saturday is the Nashville game, but it's at 1 o'clock. It's at 1 p.m. So it's an afternoon game, and then I got another Regals game to do on Sunday, and then back to work next week. So it's gonna be busy, 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 as I have been. We try to make time for these pods and get the practice in. Hence why we're doing it now. But yeah, stoked for to see our performance on Thursday against Dallas. See if we can, because they're a formidable team, a lot better than Calgary. But Nashville, I have a good feeling about Nashville because fucking Leon has just single-handedly has the Predators' number. He has like 32 points in 12 games or something like absolutely ridiculous. In his last 12 games, he has like 22 goals against Nashville Predators and 32 points. It's just absolutely ridiculous. So I have a good feeling about that. The only thing is, it's an afternoon game, and afternoon games it takes players out of their, out of what they do, out of their, their pregame ritual and routine. So hopefully that doesn't affect us too much, and we're able to come out hard against Nashville, because it'd be cool to go to 2 games this season. The first 2 games that I go to, we win. So looking forward to that. So yeah, all in all, it was a crazy weekend. All the festivities around the Heritage Classic. So many highlights to the weekend itself. One of them being kissing the Stanley Cup. That was amazing. But the biggest thing is we got the W, and we needed that. Moving on into other NHL news. I mean, I get into scores and all this and all that, but I mean, you can watch SportsCenter for all that shit. I just wanted to touch on Big Jumbo Joe Thornton retiring. What a career this man has had. I mean, he played ever since I was like a kid, and it's crazy to think that. Well, it's actually not that crazy because he is old, but I mean, he's been around forever. It was like kind of like when Lindstrom retired. He played for like most of my life, and then seeing him retire and having the league without him is strange, and it really shows you like just the whole wave of new cats coming into the league, and it's going to be a different game. But Joe Thornton, he was drafted first overall by Boston in '97. So when I was 5 years old. Yeah, 4 years old. He had 15 seasons with the Sharks, and then he went to Boston. He played for Toronto. He played for Florida, but he finished with 1,714 regular season games, recording 1,100 assists and 430 goals. He was a four-time All-Star, Olympic gold medalist in 2010 when we won it in Vancouver. He won the Hart Trophy as MVP and Art Ross Trophy as scoring leader in 05-06. What a career. The only thing that he never was able to do was win a Stanley Cup, unfortunately. But, yeah, which sucks. I mean, there's players like that have tremendous careers. Jerome McGinley comes to mind. Ryan Smith comes to mind. They have these careers, and they have so many highlights of them, but they're not able to get the ultimate prize. But both Smith and McGinley are also gold medalists in the Olympics. So, I mean, that's also huge, playing for your country, as they all say. But big shout out to Jumbo Joe Thornton on the hell of a career. Moving on to MLB, the World Series. Where's the bat at? Fucking top me up, bartender. I'm just kidding. What we at here? Yeah. Well, bat flip out of here. That was Texas's night tonight. Dominating performance. Put an 11 spot on the Arizona Diamondbacks. Game was over after the fucking third inning. Man, my pick was the Rangers in 7. I'm hoping it goes to 7. But after tonight's game, I don't know if it will. Rangers are up 3-1 in the series. They can close it out. Maybe by the time this drops, they may have won the World Series. They're up 3-1. They won 11-7 tonight. Even after losing a couple of their star players in Garcia and Scherzer, they lost. They're out for the rest of the series with injuries. But the Rangers still find a way to dominate. I was watching the game tonight, and man, the Rangers are putting up records here. They're the first MLB team to have 10 road wins in a single postseason. You're not supposed to win 10 fucking games on the road in the postseason. It's just unfathomable. So they're the first team to do that. They're also the first team to have back-to-back 5-run innings in the World Series. That was the second inning and the third inning of tonight's game. They're just dominating. I mean, the final score was 11-7, but that was because Arizona scored 6 runs in the last 2 innings. So it was 10-0 for a while there, then 10-1, and then 11-1, and then they scored 3 in the 8th to make it 11-4, and then 3 in the 9th to make it 11-7. But I mean, it's too little, too late. But I mean, if you put up 7 runs, you think you'd have a good chance. But giving up 11 is just, I don't know. It's going to be hard. Just the way Texas is so much more dominant, in my opinion. They got so many better players. Like Corey Seager had another home run tonight. He's on a tear. He might be the MVP of the playoffs here, especially if the Rangers win. And yeah, I mean, Arizona's got a big uphill battle to climb. Teams that go up 3-1 in the World Series win 84.8% of the time. So it's not a gimme, but Arizona's got to pull something out. They play again tomorrow, and it's in Arizona, and then Game 6, Game 7, if it goes to that, will be in Texas. So obviously Texas will want to just close it out tomorrow and not have to go back to Texas with the fucking championship. So yeah, my pick was Texas in 7. It might be Texas in fucking 5, but hopefully it goes to 7. Just as a sports fan, I love Game 7s. There's no better fucking saying in sports, no better 2 words in sports than Game 7. So yeah, hoping that it goes. Hopefully Arizona can bounce back and get a win tomorrow, and then maybe win one in Texas, and then Game 7, anything can happen. But yeah, so that's where that stands on that. By the next time we record one of these, we'll have a World Series champion, possibly a first-time World Series champion in the form of the Texas Rangers, because they've never won it before. Arizona won it back in 2001. Other MLB news, though, before we get to this week in sports history, the great Dusty Baker retiring. What a career he's had. My goodness. He retires as, unfortunately, the manager of the Houston Astros, but that doesn't take away from the fact that I loved him as a manager. He was a player long before I was born. And, just a tremendous career. I have some stats on, like he's won the World Series. He's done so much, not even just as a manager, but as a player. And one of the greats of all time. He two-time World Series champion, three-time Manager of the Year. He played 19 years as a player. Yeah, and he had 26 years as a manager. So he was in the league for 45 years, doing what he loves, and he was one of the best managers. And big shout out to Dusty Baker. So after all is said and done, oh yeah, one thing I wanted to touch on in the NBA because it's kind of funny. Freaking Joel had to leave. Hopefully he comes back because this one's freaking funny, and there's some discrepancies that have to be taken care of as well. But Joel Embiid got fined $35,000 for doing the DX after like getting a shot in. Yeah, like the suck it thing. Yeah, he did that like right in front of like a bunch of cameras and shit. I mean, there's cameras everywhere in an NBA game. Yeah, he did the DX after I think it was a dunk or a layup. It doesn't matter. It was kind of excessive. So I mean, this ain't the WWE, dude. And he's kind of eccentric, and he has his emotions on his sleeve. Because I remember back when the Toronto Raptors played the 76ers in the playoffs. One of the games, he was like kind of going off, and then he did like this like plane thing like down the court, and then like the fans in Toronto would like be dissing him the next game when back in Toronto, and then the cherry on top was when we beat the 76ers in that series. It was an iconic shot, him like just sobbing his eyes out, going like crying back to this dressing room. Yeah, so like I said, he keeps his emotions on his fucking sleeve, and the DX was a little too much for the NBA, so he got $35,000. Yeah, it's like a game or something, right? But yeah, before we end here, as always, we got this week in sports history, and I was looking through like things that happened on October 31st, and there wasn't too many, surprisingly. There was some sad ones, there was some trippy ones, there was some groundbreaking ones, but the one that I think really suits Halloween and my brother's birthday, by the way, shout out to Caleb, happy birthday, was in Halloween 2003. Bethany Hamilton, a young surfer at the age of 13. She got her arm bitten off while surfing in Hawaii by a shark. And they made a movie about this called, I think it's Soul Surfer, I think it's called. And it's quite the inspiring story. I was reading the whole the entirety of her story, and she wrote a book about it, and that's what the movie was based on. And yeah, she got her arm bitten off up to like the shoulder, and she thought she was going to quit surfing. Obviously, when something like that happens, it's I can't even imagine how devastating it is, especially in a sport where it's all about balance. But she somehow found resilience in herself and ultimately competed again professionally. She didn't end up winning any more titles or anything like that, but she did go on to teach youngsters around the world how to surf, and it was just an inspiration for, honestly, like generations to come. So much so that, they made a movie about her. And, Bethany Hamilton, What a G. Getting your arm bit off and then still continuing to surf. I can't even fucking imagine that. That's crazy. And like not having fear of going in the water and like just wild shit. Yeah. And it was a tiger shark. It wasn't even like a great white or anything. And tiger sharks, I thought, don't even bite like that often. They don't often bite humans. I don't know. I could be wrong on that, but yeah. I just wanted to end it on a good note. That's why I picked that story, and it's kind of trippy and kind of sort of fitting for Halloween, getting your fucking arm bitten off by a shark, but still coming back, motherfuckers. Like Michael Myers, okay? Never dying. I don't know if that's a good comparison to Bethany Hamilton. Maybe it is. Who knows? You make the decision. But that's been episode, I don't know, I think we're getting close to 80 or something of This Week in Sports. Appreciate you watching. And until next time we'll have a World Series champion, and we'll have more stories, as we always do, on This Week in Sports. I'm Josh Jacko. Peace.